Have you ever found yourself copying and pasting values from one tile generator to another?
There's got to be a better way.
And there is, Kevin.
Here are 3 methods to reuse and/or sync values between multiple nodes. Number 1, the expose as graph input method. This method feeds 2 birds with one stone. On the one hand, you can use the same value for multiple nodes, and on the other hand, this value can then be accessed and changed outside of Substance Designer, for example in Painter or Unreal Engine or whatever. For this method, you go to one of your nodes, click this thingy on the parameter your heart desires, and expose as graph input. In this menu, you might want to choose an identifier and a label that describe your parameter. The identifier is the internal name for the software, and label is what the user will see. You can often leave everything else as is, but if you have specific needs or want to limit what values can be chosen, you can set a minimum and/or maximum values. Clamp on false allows you to go beyond those values by manually inputting higher or lower values, and setting it to true makes the min and max hard limits. This can be useful if you know that particular values break the material, for example. Now, in another node, you can access this exposed parameter and reuse it. So find the identifier you put a lot of effort into naming, hopefully, and click on it. To change the value within Designer, double-click on the background of your graph, and here you'll find all of your exposed parameters. Here you can then change the default value. This can be done in batch as well, by clicking here up top where it says Instant Parameters and then choosing which parameters you want out of the list. You can then give each identifiers and labels, and even batch add prefixes and suffixes for even more control. They each get a graph input group assigned, but this can also be changed, and you can again batch give them a prefix for easy findability. Number 2, the copy-paste 2.0 method. This method came about in an update sometime this or last year, who knows, I don't even know what month it is half of the time. Anyway, if you find exposing parameters annoying for some reason, if you don't think you'll be changing values that often and just want a quick fix between 2 of the same type of node, you can now copy and paste all values by clicking on the thingy by instance parameters. Copy parameters, go to the other node, and paste parameters. This actually even works across different node types with similar parameters, like Tile Sampler will also accept parameters from Tile Generator, since they have many of the same ones. Just be careful, since a lot of values don't really make sense from node to node, and you might just overwrite other important values accidentally. Number 3, the input value method. This one is a new favorite of mine, since I like to be able to see which nodes share information. Basically, you can create inputs for your graph. They can be a full-on grayscale map, values, or colors. So you could technically define a mask to use as input from within Painter. But in this case, I just like to use the value input node to control multiple nodes in a super visual manner. This method requires a couple of extra steps, so hang in there. Suppose we want to access the X amount again. First, we need to add a little connecting circle thingy. We do this by scrolling all the way down in the desired node and clicking on the plus icon where it says input values. We can name this in a way that makes sense, as per usual. And then a very important step is to make sure you're using the right type of value. If you are looking to input a full number, as in 1, 2, 3, you need integer. If you need numbers with decimals, you want a float. In this case, the amount of tiles on an axis is an integer, so we switch from float to integer. Then we want to tell the node what to do with whatever gets plugged into the new circle thingy. We do this by going up to X amount and clicking on the icon to the right to open the drop-down menu and selecting the correct input under Use Node Input Value. So now we have the ability to plug in a number. But where the heck am I supposed to conjure a number from, you ask? Well, here's how. Search for Input and choose a new input value node. Here you'll recognize the same UI as when you expose a parameter, and this makes sense since at the end of the day it does almost the same thing. In Substance Painter, both techniques look the same. Here we once again need to choose the type of number we want, so an integer. And now, if we do all the prep work on all nodes, we can use this super visual node to tell all of our tile generators or tile samplers or whatever how many tiles we want on the x-axis. The reason why I love this is that I can see the values at all times. Just a little extra tip, you can have a color input as well. In this case, that means that I can choose my animal within Substance Painter while I'm texturing. The same goes for grayscale images like masks, for example. Well, that's that. Nothing groundbreaking, I'm sure, but hopefully helpful for people starting out. Goodbye!